Hi everyone, it's Becky here.
Okay, so today I went on a road trip to Golden Years Provincial Park with my family, and it's about an hour drive from home. And here we are by the entrance of the park. We still have to drive a little bit to get to the beach and picnic area. So it's been over a year since we went on a day trip because the COVID number in my area is not getting any better. So we've been really cautious. And we really want to get some fresh air before the rain season arrives. So there's not too many people at the park today, so it's good. We're staying at a safe distance with others. So after lunch and a quick nap, I decided to do one or two quick sketches in my sketchbook before we leave. Okay, so I decided not drawing a frame this time because this view is pretty simplistic. The main object are just the mountains in the distance and the beach with people. It doesn't have a lot of complex things around it, especially around the sky. So as you can see, I started drawing the outline of the mountain tops in the distance and the water line below. And now I'm adding more textures for those mountains using very simple marks to show the ridges and the trees, a lot of broken lines to suggest the textures of trees and the directions of the ridges. Mountains in the distance in between these two large ones. So these details are very minimal compared to the real scenery. So I actually simplified a lot of what I see. Just a few is good enough to suggest the mountain form. Okay, and now I'm drawing this length line here and then adding this man playing frisbee with his kid. Observing the activities of the people on the beach. A lot of them were just walking around, sitting by the water. Some were rowing boats. Just observing and adding those very simple people's gestures. And this person was holding a boat, carrying a boat to the water. So as you can see, the people in the distance are clearly smaller than the ones closer to the foreground. So all of these peoples are in different sizes, giving us an illusion of distance. So these people are actually really powerful objects in this sketch, giving a sense of distance. And most importantly, the proportion of the landscape. Now with these little people, the landscape looks much grander. Now I'm just quickly adding these ripples on the water. A few simple dots to suggest grass. Here and there, very loose, not drawing every single blade of grass, just suggesting the simple texture. And that's it. I think I'm done drawing, just adding a few people. Now I'm ready to paint with watercolors. When painting a landscape, I always paint the sky first. The sky around the middle to the bottom is kind of like a turquoise color. And the sky on the upper part, cerulean blue. So really light blend. So I'm wetting the areas first with clear water so the colors can spread out faster and easily. adding this sunshine color for the grass, wet on wet, some breathing green. Because the grass is not just solid green, it has some dried grass and also a mix of sunshine on top. Painting the water very lightly, keeping this first layer very light. The first layer for the mountain, I'm not painting that green directly. This is kind of like an underpainting for the mountains, the color of the sunshine. It's gonna show through even if I add the second and third layer. So now wet on wet, blending on some breathing green. As you can feel, the first layer of sunshine color is still transparent underneath. That's why I did the first layer. So watercolor is a really transparent paint medium. Underpainting, it really helps to show the atmosphere. Blending on some yellow ochre. Another layer for the water to suggest depths, and the ripples use thinner brushstrokes. So I had to be really patient because this layer was really wet. After it's kind of dried a bit, now I'm adding the second layer for the grass part, the shadows from the trees. Really dramatic, using broad and thin brushstrokes. A mix of brown with breathing green to get a darker shade of green. Pretty organic color. And same for the mountains. They need to be more dense. So now I'm adding a darker tone of green here and there. Not covering every single part from the previous layers. Keep blending on, so now it looks more dynamic. Okay, paint the mountains in the distance very lightly because things in the distance look very vague. Now I think I'm doing some final polish now. I don't want to overwork on here. I think I pretty much covered the essence of this scenery, the warm sunshine. Okay, so here is my finished sketch. It took me about 15 minutes. I think I can do another sketch. So I really like the glow of these trees under the evening sunshine. I'm going to do a quick sketch of this complex scene. Okay, so when sketching a scenery really complex like this, it's pretty important to kind of do a quick summary in the head first. For this scene, what I want to capture are the trees, the benches, and the picnic tables, and the people. That's the drawing part I want to capture. So now I started drawing the trees in the middle and then connecting the other trees around it, connecting the benches and the tables underneath the trees. Make it really simple, really know what I want. And then sketching this man sitting on the bench. This table is a little bit bigger than the one underneath the tree because it's closer to me in the foreground. Adding more people and very simple line work. Okay, so I'm actually really focusing on those abstract shapes that I see in the distance. I'm not really sure what some of those things are. I just see and draw it, following what I see. So when sketching trees, I'm only focusing on the outside outline. And then for the inside, I only add a few simple squiggly lines to suggest texture, and that's it. I don't overwork on the drawing part. And now I'm adding more outlines of trees and other little things around it that I see. And sometimes it's okay if we don't know what we're drawing. Just focus on the contours and draw what you see instead of thinking too much of what they really are. A lot of stuff on those picnic tables are pretty random plastic bags and other random objects, so I don't really care what they really are. I just focus on the large picture and adding some more details for the trees using darker line work to suggest the darker areas in the trees. And drawing more picnic tables and benches. These are great contrasts with the organic trees. A nice contrast of human-made objects and natural objects. Okay, so now after drawing for about 7 minutes, I'm ready to paint with watercolors. So I wetted the sky area first and adding some cerulean blue, a little bit green, because the evening sky looks a little bit turquoise. Adding yellow ochre and wet on wet, some radiant green. For the grass, lit up by the sunshine. And for the trees, I'm using a mix of light green, mix of yellow ochre and green to suggest the bright sunshine lighting up the top of the trees. This is really important atmosphere that I want to accomplish in this sketch. For the lower part of the trees, I'm blending in more darker tones of green. Radiant green mixed with a little bit brown. For the top part of the trees, I don't add way too much green. And wet on wet technique is really great to show the soft sunshine. Adding a few more brushstrokes for the grass. And using a blend of yellow ochre and brown to paint the tree branches and other wooden objects like the benches and tables. Painting very quickly and loosely. There's no need to color inside the shapes exactly. Just let it blend a little bit more outside the outlines. It's more lively. And the browns are really nice contrast with the greens, warm and cold colors. And that's pretty much it. And here's the look of my finished sketches. So each one took me about 15 to 20 minutes to draw and paint. So that was a really great relaxing day at the park, and now it's time to go home. And in the next 2 days, I kept on working on the other side of my art journal spread. I sketched my A&W burger and fry lunch, and I sketched a new bag of tea and the view outside my reading room window. So thank you so much for watching my video. If you like my video, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates, and I will see you very soon next time.